Hey, what's up, you guys? Iron and Integrity here. I've been seeing a lot of Jubilee videos lately. I just wanted to go over how they're kind of pointless, and as a whole, debates are kind of pointless. And when I say pointless, I don't mean it doesn't have any value. I'm just saying when it comes to changing somebody's mind, Jubilee does an awful job at it. The biggest problem with Surrounded is that they get one educated person and then usually 20 people who have no idea what they're talking about. So it just becomes people arguing over nothing. Bill Murray has a quote saying it's hard to win an argument versus a smart person, but almost impossible to win an argument versus an idiot. And that's basically what these videos boil down to. Most people go on the show have no idea what they're talking about. So once you get past a service level conversation, they kind of get lost. And I'll show that in the next clip.
We're talking about government agencies that do not get tax cuts. They don't. Government agencies.
They don't.
No,
yes, they do. They absolutely do.
I'm talking about
every private and public sector gets tax cuts when you hire a person of color.
In this video, the dude doesn't even know that federal agencies don't pay taxes because they are funded by taxes. If he was talking about jobs in the public sphere, it would be a little bit different, but the question was only towards Trump's new DEI policies, which only affect the federal government. So whenever he says federal agencies pay taxes, what can you even respond with? But this goes to my point that these are pointless conversations because people aren't really trying to change each other's mind or see the other perspective. They just wanted to win an argument. This was a less severe example, but the next clip I show you, it really shows that people don't care about changing each other's mind or finding a middle ground, but it's all about winning an argument.
Slates of electors.
Okay, what's wrong with that?
It's illegal, number one, and number two.
What law? What law says that?
You have laws that are governing how you're supposed to transmit.
No, what law? What law?
Do you want me to give you the specific statutes in Georgia, Arizona, New Jersey? I don't know them off the top of my head. If you want, you can.
Okay, so then that's a baseless claim.
It's not a baseless claim.
Yeah, it is.
Chesbro and Eastman
you can't
and
provide me a
all
specific law.
Because
You are the world's dumbest son of a bitch.
This is like when you misspell something in an argument, so you're automatically wrong. Everybody can see what the problem here it is. Just because you don't know the specific statute doesn't mean it doesn't exist. What he's using here is an argument from ignorance fallacy, basically saying since you don't have the evidence on hand, that means it doesn't exist, but obviously that's not true. It's really absurd when you think about it because most people know that murder or doing cocaine is illegal, but obviously they couldn't cite you the exact statute where that comes from. But saying that it's illegal would make it a baseless claim. And this is just another problem with this format. The dude obviously knows he's wrong, but since Destiny can't pull up any proof because they don't have a computer on hand, he can just say, well, you have a baseless claim. And then he can dodge the actual issue at hand. My biggest problem with these videos is that they bring people who argue in bad faith, so nothing productive ever gets done. And you can see that in the next clip.
Next claim is that pride parades should be banned.
Free speech until I don't like it.
Because they're disgusting, and I don't think that my grandmother or my kids or even myself should be forced to see these obscene displays in public.
Michael Knowles is known for not believing in free speech and believing certain things should be banned because not every speech should be free, so this is nothing new from him. Obviously, it's a really weak argument because whatever disgusting is extremely subjective. I believe that my grandmother shouldn't have to be subjected to seeing Michael Knowles' JCPenney outfits. But I would never advocate for him being locked in a cage. You don't get to ban something just because you don't like it. Your freedom ends at the next man's nose.
Is statistically insignificant.
It's significant to the people who have to see the obscenity.
What you're describing, the occurrences are statistically insignificant. So you're taking this thing that happens like 0.0002% of the time and applying it to the whole
thing. Seems like a little bit more.
I know you think that, but you're wrong.
Yeah.
I'm just telling you you're wrong.
What's your evidence that I'm wrong? Because I can cite to you all the examples.
Sure.
This is his worst argument in this entire debate because he has the burden of proof. He must show that what is happening at the frequency that he is stating. It's a very silly argument. It's like me saying Kansas City wins the Super Bowl every single year. And then when somebody says, no, they don't. And I say, well, I can pull up 2 examples of when they did win the Super Bowl. So obviously they do it every year. Proving something happens does not prove the frequency of it. He doesn't get to shift the burden of proof just because he has a few specific examples of something bad happening. That doesn't prove the frequency of its happening.
Like the 2024 Pride Parade in San Francisco, when 2 grown men were urinating on each other in a kiddie pool in front of kids, I think that should be banned. I don't think that's unreasonable.
If you saw my last video, you know exactly what he's doing here. He's doing a Mountain-Bailey fallacy. He's saying kids should not have to see grown adults peeing on each other, which everybody would agree. And then he runs back and says, see, so Pride Parade should be banned. It's just an absurd argument. It's like me saying every parade should be banned to stop gun violence, and then me showing 3 different examples of people getting shot at parade. Or saying we should stop running the Boston Marathon to stop terroristic threats, and then me showing the one example of when the Boston Marathon was targeted. And sometimes Jubilee just brings in people who are stupid.
A melting pot literally means assimilation too. It means melting. It means you're assimilating to the dominant culture. Is that not what melting?
No, that's not what melting means. Let me put it in a way that you can understand. If I take a red crayon and I take a blue crayon and melt them in a pot, does the red crayon assimilate to the blue crayon, or do they combine and make purple? And I think that's the biggest problem with these Jubilee videos, is that they bring in people with extremist views.
And same with xenophobic what's the problem with xenophobic nationalism? Don't you think that's better for Americans in general?
Or they'll bring in people who are obviously only there for attention.
With a cult leader who is taking the entire Republican Party off of a cliff.
Everything he say he do. Trump is gangster. Remember.
Can you give me one thing you don't like about Trump?
What I don't like about him, I love everything about him.
I know.
If Jubilee really cared to change anybody's mind, they get people who are well educated and well researched on the topic and bring them in to have an educated discussion. But they don't care about that. They just care about reactions and views. So they bring on these people who are obviously ignorant to a situation or a subject and have them talk to somebody who's a little bit more educated than them so they can look foolish. And it's just not productive. But that's all I got for you guys today. Thank y'all for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you next Friday.
Why do they doubt the kid?
Artlist.io